Today's episode is all about the Employee Retention Credit. We'll explore the ins and outs of this program, understand how to qualify, and discover how it can impact your business. You don't want to miss today's show.
Our goal is simple: to help you achieve the dream and vision you first had when you thought about starting a business. We're here to make growing your business less complicated. There are building blocks to build a sustainable business. We promise to seek them out and address them all. The Better Your Business Show starts now.
Good evening and welcome to tonight's show. I'm Natalie, your host, and my fabulous co-host, the coach for business, Miss Shanna Mavis herself.
Hello.
Hello. How are you tonight?
I am good. This was my week of volunteering at Literacy Achieves.
Awesome.
So
Cool.
For those of you that remember, a couple of weeks ago, we had Dion Kirby from Literacy Achieves on. So I actually went out and I spent time, and it was kind of hilarious because they kept calling me teacher. teacher. And so adults, it was so beautiful today. A couple of them pulled me aside and they were just like, are you going to be back in September? You know, you build this rapport with people because you're teaching them such what we consider, we take it for granted, you know, this basic skill that we take for granted. But I got a chance to flip that with some of them. And I was just like, okay, how do you say this in your language? So then they laughed at me at my pronunciation of it, you know, just kind of the same way that we've been having fun with just the different ways that they spoke about certain things and just the, you know, and you know me, that's kind of crazy. So I acted out a lot of things. I was an actress this whole week, you know, like I shout because I'm angry, you know, so they're just cracking up about the whole thing. But it was really, it was so good for me. And it taught me a lot about, I was just grateful because I'm seeing them and I'm hearing some of their whys. You know, I was like, why did you want to learn English? And they're like, I need to talk to the doctor. I want to talk to my child's teacher. My son has special needs and I don't know how to communicate with anyone about how to get him the help that he needs. And so it was just like, it was so touching. But yeah, I plan to go back and I highly recommend for anyone out there, they have online opportunities to volunteer, do that. It's going to change someone's life for the better. So
I love that. That's so awesome. It sounds like it would be super rewarding.
Yeah, it really was.
I was thinking about them today, actually, because why did they come up for me? I don't remember why. Someone had brought up something with them and volunteering. And so, we were talking about the pandemic and how businesses were affected by the pandemic. And my thing was how much good came out of it. Yeah, a lot happened, but we have to remember all the good things that came out of it too. It made me think of how it helped them expand and grow. Right now they're nationwide as opposed to in one state from the pandemic. So it was really, I loved their story. That's awesome.
Yeah, I did too. It was great. Highly recommend.
All right, cool. Yeah, you'll have to drop that in the chat again for people.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you know, I won't do that. We'll post about it or something, but it's going to be enough for me to figure out how to do all of the things that I have to do tonight. But I am excited about what we've got going on tonight because I know less than nothing. I went to ChatGPT when we were talking about, you know, the employee retention credit because I didn't know. I mean, I could Google it, of course. That's what I used to do before ChatGPT came into my life. But I was like, tell me like I'm 5 because I want to make sure that it's at the most basic understanding that I have. And there's still so much that goes into it that, you know, even breaking it down to that level, I'm like, okay, but how or what or who or why or, you know, how does this benefit anyone? So I'm glad that we're having that conversation because I imagine there's a lot of these conversations being had right now. And that's what I'm curious about is why now? Why is it that
coming out of the pandemic, this is because of the pandemic. That's what started all of it. So it's, just all the stuff coming out of the pandemic, there's a time limit where you have to get all this done. But that's why everyone's talking about it right now. And unfortunately, there are pop-up shops or people pretending to be experts, right? It's just like, it makes me think about like when we had loan mods and stuff like that. But so you have to make sure you're talking to the right people. And I love that you didn't want to Google it, because sometimes I feel like, one, you're going to get information overload. Two, you're going to get different people's perspectives. And it's like, not that I don't want people's perspectives, but sometimes it can be overwhelming of, how do I know what's the truth? How do I know if I qualify for certain things or not? Even when you and I were talking earlier today, my husband and I have talked about this subject several times. And this morning when he woke up, he saw something, I don't know, on his phone. And he said to me, hey, have you heard about those $26,000 credits for employees? Right. And I'm like, yeah, I've been talking about it all week, I mean, by the way, one of those conversations was, would his business qualify for it? When I set my appointment. So, yeah, I do think it's important because it's a different language, which for us, it's money, it's finance. People can be very intimidated in this area. We're afraid to make wrong decisions. We don't want to get scammed. We're dealing with the government, which is going to be scary in itself, right? And then there's been so many people who think they haven't qualified, which I think is a really big talk about tonight's show, is who've qualified. Because I had read on a statistic, ChatGPT gave me this as well, saying 80% of the business of people that qualify for ERC don't know they do. 80%. That is a huge number. Huge. So that's, again, one of the reasons why I wanted to have this conversation, because now's the time for people, if they qualify, they should be taking advantage of this for so many different reasons. So I'm excited about this subject. We have Sandra Baughman here tonight to talk about it with us. I've worked with her personally for 3 years now. She is one of my go-to gals. She's been in the financial sector over 30 years, right? If I'm bouncing, or even we have lots of fun together, even our crazy entrepreneur ideas. Yes, that's fun too. But like, if I need feedback on, hey, I want to do this type of investment, I'm looking at a certain type of something, she's going to call first. She knows her stuff. What I really appreciate about Sandra is she's a strategist, right? There's people who can say, oh, I do insurance. Oh, I do ERC. Oh, I do whatever. No, Sandra's a strategist. She's going to look at, okay, what can we do to help you accomplish this? And the reality is when you're working with someone who's a strategist, one, they've been doing it a long time. Two, they understand how it works. And that's why they use strategy. A person has experience. So I'm thrilled. Obviously, I trust her enough to talk to her about my own finances, right? I do finances, and I use other people's services to do my own too. There's a little quick tip for you. So if we can bring Sandra Baughman to the front, she is with, she's representing Bottom Line. And Bottom Line Concepts, ERC firm, which has been in business for 14 years. So I love that they're not just a pop-up shop. So Sandra, welcome to tonight's show.
Oh, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you both for having me.
Yes, we are thrilled you're here. I know you have to be excited because you and I geek out on this stuff all the time.
We've been geeking out. We've been geeking out for sure.
Geeking out on business. Yes, Sandra's one of those people too, Shanna. She loves to geek out on business. So.
Love it. Love it already.
Exactly.
Love to dive into all the analytical stuff. And,
Yes. Definitely. Well, awesome. Well, thanks for being here. I would like to get us started with what is so employee retention credit is what ERC stands for, and what is it? I think we should get started with what is it?
Okay. Yeah. So the employee retention credit is a tax credit. It's, it's been, sold as a grant, which is just an easy way to kind of explain it, but it's really a tax credit, and it's literally been updated multiple times in its 3-year existence. It was created by the CARES Act to help businesses keep their employees on payroll during COVID and during the pandemic. And it's a refundable tax credit, which means businesses can claim the credit even if they do not owe any taxes. And the law allocated like $400 billion to states and localities and healthcare systems that kept employees on payroll. And there are millions, like you said, Natalie, there are millions of unclaimed dollars available. And nearly any company that's been impacted by the pandemic may be eligible to claim this credit. And it's 80% of businesses out there don't think that they qualified. They might have been told that they don't qualify. And it's because it's made these changes. So you might not have qualified in the very beginning, but they've revised it several times. And that's what we're here to talk about. And I'm on a mission to get this money into the business owner's hands and not kept by the government. So that's what
yes. Woo! So how do I know if I'm eligible?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Well, there's two main things now that makes you eligible. Okay. So basically it's the qualifications are that the business must have first employed less than a certain threshold of full-time employees. So W-2 employees, and you can't count yourself. So that's a big question. Like, well, I was W-2'd. Okay. Well, unfortunately you can't count yourself or a family member. So if it's me, my daughter, my son that I've employed in my business, and we are all W-2'd, I can't count us. Okay. So, and it's businesses with as low as 3 W-2 employees up to 500 W-2 employees. Okay. That's one of the qualifications. And then the business must have either faced a nominal disruption of its typical operations mandated by the government order, which, I mean, who didn't have change in business hours or partial suspensions, reductions in services offered, or having to move to Zoom, or unable to go to your trade shows anymore. I mean, I don't know any business really that wasn't impacted, to be honest. Okay.
Right.
So, or they endured a considerable loss of income during the pandemic. But you don't, there's a belief that if you've applied for if you've applied and received the PPP loans, that you don't qualify. Or if you made a considerable amount of income during the pandemic, because some businesses did, that you don't qualify. So all of that it's not related. It's back to W-2 employees that you employed during 2020 and 2021. And if it's affected your typical operations or a considerable loss of income. Gosh,
So
I'm
most,
on the barn with that one.
so with this being a credit, which tax-wise, dollar for dollar reduction. So that's amazing. But most of them are income based. There's some criteria that has to do with income, and you're saying this does not have anything to do with revenue or income at all.
Yes, it's profitability. Let's say it's profitability. So you have to have, paid your W-2 employees either a part-time wage or a full-time wage. And yeah, if your profitability was up or down, you still may qualify.
Wow. That's really nice.
Yes.
Because I would have expected that you had to have had a significant loss in revenue in order to qualify for this. So,
well, and that is what it was originally, right? So that's why some people were told by their accountants and by, tax professionals that they don't qualify because they didn't at the time, but it's been revised. So let's take a mortgage company, for instance, during 2020 and 2021, rates were super low. A lot of mortgage companies did really well, but guess what? They all had a correction in their operations. Everybody had to work from home, on Zoom. So that's just one of the many, many different examples. And so they may qualify.
Yeah, really, you have nothing to lose by seeing if you qualify. So
Absolutely.
I went through the process today, which I will share later in the show because I want to share with you guys, just my experience and go through so I could share with you guys too. And I did get PPP 1 and 2 just to let y'all know. So because I want to share my experiences with you guys, obviously. And yes, I did it through Sandra. And so yeah, it was a great experience. We're sharing it with you. But shoot, that made me think of a question I wanted to ask you. Now I just lost it. Do you have one, Shanna? I do have
I do. I want to know how this really benefits business owners, right? So for me, I that was one of the questions that I was asking, ChatGPT is how does this really benefit them? I see here's criteria. I can go through that if I check all of those boxes, but let me know what this is going to do for me, what it's going to do for my employees.
Yeah, that's a great question. And let's just put all of ourselves into those shoes. Like let's just say the average is a $250,000 return. What could that do for your business? You can reinvest it in your business. You can scale your business. You can expand it into multiple states if you want. You can actually do anything with these funds. This is not a grant or a loan. You can allocate those funds to do anything that you want. You can hire more employees. You can give your employees raises because they stayed on payroll during the pandemic, and sometimes some very, very, tough situations and standards, right? So,
but with no restrictions on how you can use these funds, there's a danger in that. It feels like, really, IRS? Y'all didn't want to put...
I mean, does it make you say really, IRS, though? That kind of makes me think of my last question, though, because the question I wanted to ask you would be, I know you're a representative of them. I used a representative, obviously, to go through the process. But I know that some people will reach out to their CPA or reach out to their bookkeeper. Like, who should people be reaching out to for this was one of my questions. And I think that kind of goes to the next one, Shanna, which is like, okay, now they have this money. Now what? Because we know that most people don't know. All three of us know most people don't know what to do with their money, right?
Right. So, I guess the question is do you really need an ERC provider to claim this, employee retention credit? And there's companies that are going to use their internal accountants, and they've done a good job. However, an ERC provider, the process is so complex. Okay. The application process, of amending, you're amending your payroll tax return with the IRS on a form 941X. Okay. And that can be very complicated in itself, especially if you're one of the larger companies, with 400, 500 W-2 employees.
Yeah.
So without expert help, it's really a risky proposition for your business. Even payroll tax professionals and CPAs find this a difficult, complex claim to file. And one of the things that we do is that we put together a package. First of all, we determine if your company qualifies, and we guide you through the claims process. Okay. And then we handle the entire application process for you. And we know how to build the claim, and it will easily survive any audit. It's all over the news that, there's been IRS bulletins that say, be careful with this new these new ERC pop-up shops and these aggressive salespeople. And there's a reason for that, because let's just say you work with a provider that gets you a claim that is over, processed. So maybe they're making up some things. I don't know. Maybe they don't know how to calculate the forms accurately, because there is a complex way to calculate all of the different, the payrolls, and was it part-time or full-time, and was there healthcare involved? I mean, there's all kinds of different things. That's why getting on a phone call with the professional is the best way to really get your questions answered as far as like how much you're going to qualify for. But we also offer audit protection, and the people that are, our consultants and our experts that are putting together these packages, we're going to back up any IRS audit. We are probably one of the only companies that also have a clawback clause. So if the IRS audits a company that received a large tax credit, then we are going, they'll have a clawback, like you need to pay that money back. And we have a clawback clause that we're going to fully support you. You would get any funds that you paid for our, contingency feedback. But I will tell you that we have processed over 40,000 claims, and we have not had one audit yet. And it's not to say that they won't come, right, but we have not had one audit. And we're pretty confident that we're going to have all of the backup documentation needed. And if you do get audited, it's just like, here's how we came up with this number, and you're going to be able to fall back on that. And Natalie, you and I talked a little bit about an audit, because that word is...
Yeah, I love that you said it. I think, well, first, yeah, I do want to explain that. But the other thing, too, is with a company that size, if you don't get audited, you're just not doing business, right? So we'd expect that at some point you're going to get audited. But yeah, let's talk about that, because that can be scary. I got audit. Like, what does that mean? Are you going to come in and ransack my office, or what does that mean?
Right. So we've seen on the movies what an audit looks like, and all these, oh my God, let's run from the auditors, and the way the IRS and I'm not an IRS agent and I'm not, a CPA, but I do know that I've been audited before just for filing head of household on my tax return. And they didn't come and raid all my business file cabinets and everything and go through that kind of audit, that takes several weeks. They just asked me to send them proof of why I'm claiming head of household. And so I did. And that was it. That was the audit. So if you are audited for this, then you're going to be able to supply that documentation that we've probably already supplied. So that's why we don't think you're going to necessarily get an audit. But if you do, you want to have that documentation as backup. And I will say this, it takes 6 to 9 months to get your tax credit refund. So guess what they're already doing before they're giving you that check? Probably auditing.
So true. We're going to give you this chunk of change.
Right. I mean, because some companies are getting millions of dollars.
Yeah, that's a significant amount. So I'm sure they're taking the time to go through that. And yeah, I've been audited as well. And the guy that did my taxes that year, he did go through one of those TV raids. I mean, they came in and just, but he was mad shady, right?
Oh, okay. That was my next thing. Yeah, just don't be shady. You don't have to worry about an audit.
He was super shady. I've done my own taxes and I started doing taxes. So I understood once I went through that whole thing with H&R Block and, started working for them and then teaching people how to do the income tax, do basic income taxes and small business tax returns. That was when I saw exactly what he did and how it could have been so much worse for me than it was. But yeah, that's why people get scared of those things. But I guess I'm curious, you mentioned something when we were, backstage before the show started. You mentioned you can only apply one time. If you get denied by the IRS, you're done. You cannot apply again. So, I mean, I guess I want to understand a little bit. I know what it means, right?
Right.
But how do you guys, do you have people coming to you that have already gone through that? How do you know who to look for in order to, because I know that you work or represent a company that has been doing this for a few years. How do people know who they can trust? Because I've got one shot.
Right. That's a good question. And that's an important, question because you do only have one shot. You are going to submit all of this paperwork and you are going to have to, a lot of these companies are going to have to adjust their tax returns from 2020, 2021. That's another reason why we have the 941X form. And so imagine you put all of this paperwork together and you've done an amendment to your taxes and you send it into the IRS and they say, no, they're not going to, how are you going to redo that paperwork? Like, are you going to do another amendment on your taxes to make it work? I mean, once you have that done, it's kind of like a done deal. So that's why it's so important to get something that's going to get you the max amount of refund, but that it's legitimate and it's honest. And it's okay that we're doing, some amendments to your taxes. And that's going to probably trigger some tax debt owed. But think about the tax debt that might be owed by amending those taxes versus the credit that you're going to get. It's kind of like it's going to offset that tax, that tax that's owed. And then you're going to get credit on top of that. I hope that answered your question.
It did. And it gave me so many others, but I have this feeling just based on the conversation that we had before, I would go deep into this rabbit hole and ask some questions that I'm certain you're going to tell me, okay, just
get on the call.
Yep. Get on a call with me and let's talk about your situation.
Right.
Because, so I will hold my questions for that.
They have 64 representatives on staff that will take your calls. So I did put a link in the chat. You can go on there. You just put in your basic information, ask if you want an English or Spanish rep. It gives you a Calendly link. You schedule it. It's a 15-minute call. Like I said, I went through it today, and they'll let you know right on the spot if you'll qualify or not. And what's important to add, why I want to add that is because they didn't take me through this process of filling out paperwork and filling out stuff and blah, blah, blah. And then I got declined. they had the conversation with me up front and let me know you wouldn't qualify. So I didn't risk a decline, right? So that's part of the difference. I didn't go through this process and go, oh, we couldn't do it. No, they had their due diligence done up front. So that's the first thing. And second thing I want to mention that I think is really important is, and Sandra, expand on this, please, if you want to, is, how much do I have to pay to sit down with the representative or to go through the program?
Yeah.
Yes, that's a good question. And I'm glad you brought that up, because there are a lot of the pop-up shops or even some of the accountants. And I could tell you some stories. I don't know how much time we have, but that are charging up front to put this package together or to even have a consultation. And we do not charge anything up front. There is absolutely no risk to get on the phone and find out if you qualify and for how much you qualify for. We charge a contingency fee. Okay. And we don't get paid unless you get paid. And we send you the contract and you look through it. And, if you want to move forward with our services, we move forward. Most people do, or you don't. The fee is typically, we have a range. So that's why it's important to get on the call. Because we are one of the only companies that goes under the 5 employee capacity. So most companies out there only do 5 to 500. We do, 2 to 500. Again, you can't count yourself as those W-2 employees, but we will charge anywhere from 15 to 30. And it's typically the smaller companies that are the larger percentage, because we're doing the same amount of paperwork and everything for a much smaller fee when you add it all up together.
Yeah.
And it's very fair. I think there's a lot of companies out there charging 25 to 30% to do this.
Yeah. And it's on the back end. So it's going to come out of your tax credit. So none of us have to worry about going through the process. You're not going to get a bill for anything. You're going to know upfront whether you qualify or not, you're going to get money or not. And, again,
you're going to get that check from the IRS, the refund, and then you're going to pay us the contract. So you're getting the check. So we are also going into a trusting relationship with you based on a contract that you're going to pay us our contingency fee.
Interesting.
So,
So let me just understand, because I know we've only got a couple more minutes before we wrap this up. At its most basic, I'll amend my tax return. I will likely owe something as a result of that amendment, but I am going to get a check for the credit that I qualify for, right?
That's it in a nutshell. Some people are not going to owe. I mean, it's going to change the amount. It depends. I mean, did you owe taxes or did you not owe taxes? So that's all very subjective, case by case. Okay. So all of it's very case by case. I mean, you're going to definitely, if we qualify you, you're going to get a refund. You're going to get a credit of some sort. Otherwise, we're going to tell you don't qualify and it's not worth doing it.
Yeah, they're going to look at that up front to see if it's worth it,
Yeah.
Because you got to consider your PPP, all that stuff, and say, okay,
Yeah, there's so
you
much.
Want to spend that time for that,
right.
a couple $100 or not, or if it's, you're not thinking about if you're getting back 50,000, 100,000, 250,000, but if it's right, then that's a different conversation because everybody needs to get paid.
Yeah, and I always say, a percentage of something is better than, a percentage of nothing.
That's right.
Coming back to
right. Awesome. So you can, like I said, there's a link that has been dropped in the chat. You can schedule time with one of the representatives there. I'll talk about it later in the show. Any final thoughts that you want to add, Sandra or Shanna? I'll give you time for one more question if you want before we wrap it up.
That would have been my question. Is there anything, just practical advice or information that you can give business owners out there that might qualify or want to know if they qualify? Anything that you can share with them that's going to help them, along the way?
Yeah, I mean, the main thing I'm going to say is getting, anywhere from 50 to a few $1 million worth of 5-minute phone call. There's no risk. I mean,
well, all right.
Be an opportunist, right? Be an opportunist.
I hope that doesn't come off cheesy, but honestly, I don't know what else to say.
It's the truth, right? You don't know if you don't try.
I'm not trying to be cheesy at all, but I mean, really, it's like, Come on, guys. Don't let the government hold on to this money. This is for businesses.
Yeah, when you put it like that, it's kind of a no-brainer.
Get the money that you are owed. Yeah.
I love it.
Can I say this too? And maybe I'm going to be controversial, but whatever. But it seems to me like the businesses that are going to follow through and get this done are going to be your businesses that have closer to 400 employees, probably didn't do that bad. Yes, their credit's going to help them. Probably, I'm not going to say they didn't have challenges, but they have big established companies, right? It's probably your middle to small size businesses that really had the challenge. And unfortunately, those ones are going to be the most effective because those are typically the last ones to look and see if they can qualify. So be an opportunist.
Told that they didn't qualify.
Yes, so right. So
10 and 200 employees.
That's right. Yes, 10 and 200, right? So click on the link. You have nothing to lose, everything to gain if you qualify. Your whole life will be changed. Your business will be changed off of a 5-minute click. And if it doesn't, hey, you know what? Keep watching the show. We hope to help you. But at least take the time to do it now.
Thanks for having me, you guys.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right. Wow. That was amazing. Okay. So it is time for the Just Good Business segment. Natalie, I've got another one for you. So our segment tonight features a business that has an impact beyond itself on different levels. And that's what we look for Just Good Business. As you listen to the story, you're going to hear how the business owner empowers other business owners, but also how they give back in a way that's so meaningful to so many people. With its unique name and mission to match, Shit That I Knit is what we consider just good business.
Yes.
My name is Christina Party, and I'm the founder of Shit That I Knit. In looking for ways to produce my product, I always wanted to do that with integrity and make sure I was really proud of how things were created. So I never thought to move to machine made or go to China. It was really focusing on creating this handcrafted product. These are all women. Most of them are mothers. It was just so inspiring to me that I could work with people who could bring in an income that they wouldn't otherwise have without leaving their kids with unreliable childcare. A lot of them I really consider they're female entrepreneurs. They're running their business, they're balancing their books, they're keeping the lights on, they're making sure that they're covering all their costs, so they're really financially literate, and they're able to provide things for themselves and for their families that they wouldn't otherwise, whether it's extra food on the table or sending their child to university. It's really life-changing money. Something that I'm incredibly proud of. We have our Give a Shit Knit Kit, which we donate to young adult cancer patients. It's something I started a couple of years ago after a friend was diagnosed with leukemia. I taught her how to knit, and after the experience, her mom came up to me and said, God, I haven't thought about her cancer in the past 2 hours. This was so therapeutic for me. We've donated hundreds of these kits to different programs across the country over the years. Now my role has evolved so much since I started this company, and now it's really about bringing people in who are smarter than me, who are really passionate about Shit That I Knit and about growing the brand, making sure that I can make them as successful as possible so that we can all be successful.
A wise man once asked, what if starting a business was like jumping out of a plane? And like 76% of businesses, what if 76% of parachutes failed before you reached the destination? What about those of you who have already jumped? Well, you may still have time to check your business. Pillar5.com, where businesses get it right.
How'd you like that one?
Oh my gosh, that was awesome. I loved it. I loved it so much. And she definitely did not look like she'd own a company called Shit That I Knit. I was like, I love her. It was like, great marketing.
Yeah, it was such a great story. And I found that on Katie Couric's website, right? Because she was featured there through like a Kickstarter campaign. Katie Couric saw it, was wearing one of the beanies and started promoting that. And so I was just like, this is impressive because of the business owners that she's helping set up. She's giving them opportunities that they wouldn't normally have. And then with the, Give a Shit Knit Kits,
Yeah.
I love that because it was just like you're giving back in so many different ways.
Yes.
And then you're focused on now running this business and making sure that your vision that touched me at the end when she's like, my role has evolved. And every one of us as business owners should be looking at things that way, right? We should be looking and saying, okay, I need to bring people in smarter than me to take care of the things that need to happen in my infrastructure, marketing, management, finance, and credit, in those different areas that we believe are the pillars of sustainability. Let them do those things while I cast vision over my company. But yeah, it was just, I felt like that was pretty amazing of her at that point to be so young and, has built this company up like that.
Apparently, I'm not good at the buttons either.
Yeah, I know the back end is hard. Anyone, please help us. But speaking of companies that just our business owner for the second half of the show that's coming on here to talk a little bit about his business and get advice from our coaches in the audience. And we've got a coach backstage. I'm super excited for this conversation. But I want to go ahead and bring him on, and we're going to let him talk about his business, JL Bumbry. We're going to bring you into the studio. Hello, sir.
How's everybody doing?
We
Awesome.
are doing well.
I've been looking forward to meeting you, JL.
Sound is okay. Is it okay?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
good, great. Well, thank you.
I've been looking forward to meeting you.
The name of my business, of course, it's Anti-Guru Enterprises. I call myself the anti-guru because I do the exact opposite of what the gurus do. I give away more than I sell, kinda. But what I do is I'm a YouTube video advertising consultant. I help businesses get customers through the power of YouTube. That's the short story. But I've been doing this probably since 2015. A little story behind it. I was like a lot of people, advertising on Facebook, and I got my ad account flagged, and I couldn't advertise anymore. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't do anything. What can I do? And I had been on YouTube before. I always loved making videos, loved watching videos, and then. I can't remember who told me, but they said, hey, you thought about YouTube ads? And I said, I don't know about that. And I just started delving into it and started promoting my own business because I was doing something totally different at that time. I was promoting a lot of affiliate products I was selling, and we won't mention any of that. But, as I progressed, I learned through one of my mentors that, I was like a lot of people, you hear this thing about multiple streams of income. So I'm trying to do all these different things. And I found from one of these mentors, he said, what you need to do is you need to become an expert, focus on one thing and one thing only. And so I decided to delve into YouTube ads. And it's been a pleasure. I love doing the video aspect of it, and now with the advent of AI, it has really turbocharged YouTube ads. And I tell people all the time, if you're not doing YouTube ads, you're doing your business a disservice because 90% of all content is consumed in video form. Write that down, everybody. 8 million people are on YouTube every single day.
Wow.
Yeah. It is the number 2 search engine right behind Google, but that's only because Google bought YouTube. And that's why we have those changes that have come along. And I tell people all the time, the targeting and how you can reach people like they do with Facebook is just as good, if not better, especially now with the AI component that they've added to the advertising platform. Usually you used to could actually place your ads in front of competitors' video, and they kind of took that away. But the AI aspect has really, really made it a lot cheaper. I'm doing a ad for a diversity theater company, and if anybody knows anything about PPC, you pay per click when people click on you. Well, YouTube is different. You pay per view, but the cost is he's paying right now, he's paying about 8 cents a view. So every time somebody views his video, he gets charged 8 cents. But however, you have to watch at least 30 seconds of the video in order to get charged. So that makes it really, really advantageous. If you can get your message in that 30-second period or less, you get what they call free views. So people have seen your message and maybe clicked the button and gone to your website or whatever your offer is, and you're not even getting charged for some of those. We're not on YouTube, are we?
We are.
Yes.
So,
You're on a couple different channels on YouTube.
yeah, we absolutely are. But I wanted
You're gonna get a copyright from you.
I don't think we'll get in any trouble back.
So I brought Terry Moten into the studio. He's your business problem solver. One of the things that we're trying to do in this segment is look, and you wrote to us, you gave us a little bit of information about you, and you said part of the challenge that you're having is closing potential clients.
Yes.
So we want to talk about that, and I know Terry's got some advice. Anyone else in the audience, please feel free to chime in. We want to help him better his business. So if you want to talk a little bit about the challenge that you're having, or where do you get, or Terry, you may have some questions for him. We're open.
Well, JL, I'd like to hear about the challenges that you're having. What reason are people giving you for not moving forward?
Well, mainly it's money. I mean, and I'm relatively inexpensive, but the biggest challenge is getting somebody to commit to the price structure. I don't have a contract. It's an open, but I tell people that they have to give me at least 90 days to perfect their advertising, because first of all, it takes YouTube 30 days to fully optimize it. Mm-hmm. And then that 60 days is where I go in after that optimization and fine tune it and do all of the particulars to give them the results that they want. And it's almost like, they want me to be Jerry Maguire and show them the money right away. But they don't want to spend any money. So I don't know if it's the conversation, like I said, I can't get past that objection. And I actually raised my prices because I decided that maybe my pricing was too low and people didn't see enough value in it.
So, JL, for you, is your pricing, is it customized based on each client, or do you have different packages that they end up selecting from?
Yeah, well, I actually have just two things that I can do. I mean, the advertising is one package, or what I also do is I can go in and optimize their channel. Maybe SEO it or something like that, and that's under $100. Now, a lot of people like that because it's under $100. But I have one price fits all, because I'm going in and taking whatever video that they have decided to use as advertising. Now, I have offered to edit some people's videos, because I know with YouTube, they don't like anything longer than 3 minutes. And some of these people want to have 5 or 6 minute videos. And I'm like, look, people's eyes glaze over after 15 seconds sometimes, so I can do that. But I've kind of refrained from doing that because now I'm it's not their product anymore. Now it's mine. And then I edit it, and then they don't like that. And then we go back and forth with that, so it's one price. Like I say, no contract. You just have to give me a 30-day notice. If you decide you don't like what I'm doing, it's not profitable, give me 30 days, to shut everything down. But I get people who want me to go, well, can you do half now and half? No.
How are you trying to reach people?
Well, I have been having a lot of success on this one platform, Alignable.
Okay.
A lot of business owners on there, and I find that a lot of people there really want to collaborate and work and help each other. I've done, of course, I do a little bit of advertising on YouTube as well. But when I get people into that funnel, they get stalled somewhere and they don't take action, and, so, the thing is, and then I have another piece of software where I can look for people on Facebook and it kind of matches them up. And then I try to have a messenger conversation. But that technique is kind of oversaturated now because everybody's so skeptical. They are, and what it is you got these people who send you a friend request and immediately start to pitch you. And I don't do that. I try to have a conversation. I try to find something on their profile that I can help them optimize their profile to get leads or something like that to open the door and open the conversation. And I always look for something in common, like maybe they like football or they like wrestling, or like me, I used to be a bodybuilder, if they're into fitness or something along those lines, and it's a slow process where I'll talk to somebody. I had one guy, it took me 6 months to land this guy because he just kept going back and forth. And he called, well, how much is this and how much is that? And I'm like, bro, do you want to do this or not? And that's, like I said, I started raising my prices because I said, I think people don't value it. So I raised the prices, and that helps me filter out these tire kickers.
Yeah, that's the first thing I think of. And obviously, I mean, really, this is Terry's expertise, so I want to give her time to talk. But as I'm sitting here listening to you, you're not in your target market. If you're having conversations with entrepreneurs that are worried about $100, they're not your target market. They're in that state of grinding it out. It's already stressful enough. I'm not going to give you money and hope this works. I'm already right. That's why, can you make me money? That's what they're thinking. If you're using targeted ads, there's something wrong in your targeting there. You need to find entrepreneurs that are making more money, because if they're making more money, it's just an add-on. Now I'm going to add ads on it, right? It's a couple $100 a month. No big deal. Here we go. And we're scaling again. Boom, more money. It's no problem for you. You have consistency. That business owner wants to stay with you as long as you're really delivering, right? And they're going to keep you long-term as long as your ads are good and you're helping them grow. And well, Terry and Shanna, you can give the feedback on the editing of the video things, because Shanna's taught me a few things on that I've had to learn with people.
The other thing that I'd add, JL, is I know you said, sometimes they want to break up the payment and pay some now and a little later. One of the things that you may be able to put in to easily help kind of solve some of that problem is put in and I know Shanna and Natalie know about it as well, put in a third-party financing option where you get your money up front, but they've got the ability to then spread it out over a period of time. So it's a win-win for everybody.
Right.
That's one of the first things I would suggest. Another thing you may want to consider, and I'm saying this coming from a digital marketing background myself. So by day, I'm a digital marketing consultant. So I feel your pain with the whole no money and that sort of thing that a lot of people want prime services, but don't have the funds to, or say they don't have the funds. You may want to consider, I know you got one pricing, you may want to see, can you do a 3-tiered option? Can you have kind of an introductory so they can get their feet wet? And maybe that's the SEO, but get them in with something, because it's a lot easier to upsell them to something a little bit down the line once you've established a relationship.
Right.
And I know I've often seen, if I'm presenting 3 options, kind of if you just want to be present in the market, if you want to really kind of have a promote in the market, and if you want to propel in the market, they're typically going to pick something. It's usually not a no. It's I'll do something.
Right.
Yeah, I would say the same thing, Terry. I have, 3 different pricing. It depends on the program, right? But with certain things, I had 3 different prices because they start to see what it could be, and that gives them a growth path as well. Okay, well, I'm not there. I know I can't afford that, but this $100 isn't that bad when I look at the top package being, $500 or $600 for something I know I don't need right now, but I want. Because we all want that. We have this fear of missing out on something. I want the most expensive thing over here, but I can't afford it. But I could probably afford this $100. And like Terry said, test that out. the other thing, you know, again, we always love to commend our business owners that come on here, because it takes a lot to say, hey, I'm struggling in this area, because you're so knowledgeable. I'm listening to you and I'm like, we need him to optimize our channel. So Carlton, are you listening? But hearing that, I know that you're knowledgeable and you care about the end result for business owners, but just hang in there. Like, it took you 6 months to close that one client. Now, you know, watch your time, because that's all you have, right? You're not there to really make friends. You are there to build relationships.
Yeah.
So it's recognizing that. But then I've had clients come back, you know, months and months later, just like you said, that said, okay, I couldn't afford you then, but you gave me so much value that now, how can we work together? I have money now where I didn't then. So I love that you're giving away more than you're selling, for, you know, sometimes, you know, or for the most part, the way that you put it. But I really want to encourage you to continue down that path, because they do need you. They just don't see that they can afford you right now, but at some point they'll see that they can't afford not to have you.
Exactly. I mean, I tell people all the time, like I said, you know, over 90% of content is consumed in video form. And you're going to be like a dinosaur. You're going to be extinct. You know, it's just like these businesses when COVID hit. Restaurants in my here in my hometown, there were several that had been open 40, 50 years. They're gone because they refuse to adapt and you know, get the delivery with DoorDash and Uber Eats and all these things. You know, oh, the people will come back. No, they won't. Not in time. And that's
Sandra's got a question for you from the so Sandra, you want to ask?
Yeah, I'm listening backstage, and one of the things that really compels me, because I buy a lot of things, I buy into a lot of different things, is social proof. So are you spending a lot of your time gathering that social proof and getting those kind of testimonial videos to people that have found success with your service?
You know, a lot of people don't want to get in front of the camera. I'm like, look, I just need a 30-second video. You can pick your phone up and say, hey, JL is the greatest thing since sliced cheese. You can say anything, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
That's a struggle, you know, and I have, you know, when I do work with my clients, I have the data from their campaigns. And I usually show people that and say, here's my past work. This is what I have been able to do, you know, and they're saying, oh, that's impressive. And then they ghost me sometimes.
You might consider just written testimonials as well. You can create your own beautiful video that is just words, or their photo and their words. That can be just as powerful. I mean, you are a video creator. So just, if they don't want to come here and say it themselves, because a lot of people are not comfortable, then just take their words and put those, you know, in some creative format, but let people see what you're doing for them.
I'm taking notes, guys. Forgive me.
It's
go back and watch the show again,
just rewatch it. But it is, I know this is what happens every time. We've got still a few things that we want to cover. Is there any last, you know, Terry and Sandra, are there any last pieces of advice that you want to give to, and we've got Tom Hobbs speaking as well. Everyone's wanting to help you. So I'm super excited about this, but are there any last words that we want to have for JL as he's moving forward and we transition out of this segment?
I would just say also encourage you continue to nurture and follow up with those people who kind of may have fallen off that funnel. Follow up with them. Great idea with what Shanna said in terms of and Sandra being able to even just get written testimonials that you kind of turn into a video. And I put that in that funnel follow-up process that you may be sending out, whether it's an email follow-up, text follow-up. Utilize all of that as much as possible, but don't let a potential prospect that you met with and didn't move forward, don't let them die on the vine, because you can get them back.
Right.
I agree. I mean, any information that you can drip on these potential prospects or anybody that you've talked to, you know, keeping them in that database and continuing to drip on them, they're eventually going to out of sight, out of mind,
Yeah. I mean, I do. I've got a nice email campaign that when they do get in the funnel that I have, and I get their of course I get their contact information first. They can't get anything unless they do that. So I continue to email them, and because I've been doing a series on AI and YouTube, so I've been sending them invites to go check out those videos, to try to reel them back in and show them the power of it.
I want to close with one last thing. I think so many times when we're not getting results in business, we think that we're doing something wrong. Let's just know that maybe you're in a time right now of planting seeds. Enjoy the journey, have fun, build relationships, keep planting those seeds, and your harvest will come. You're doing exactly what you're meant to do. Just keep going and course correct along the way.
Yeah.
Love it. And I do want to point out that Tom Hobbs made a point. Please pay attention to where they're dropping off in your funnel.
Yeah, I saw that one.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. I wanted to call attention to that because that's in, that data right there is going to tell you where you need to make any changes if you need to make changes.
Exactly.
But you guys have been so amazing. JL, thank you so much for coming on here, sharing your business with us. Check out his website because he has a farm also. We didn't get a chance to talk about it, but yeah, I was looking and the eggs have their little stamp on them. It's so amazing. Farm fresh eggs. I love it. Thank you so much for joining us, Terry Moten, Sandra Baughman. We appreciate all of you. And we are now going to go into It's Your Boy Fitzroy.
It's your boy Fitzroy, and I have a banger of a website that's going to help you better your business. The website is bloom.io. It allows you to keep all your important information for your business all in one place. If you're looking to launch or grow your small business, keep the data for future prospects and past clients all at your fingertips. I love that it allows you to send clients invoices that lets them make a payment with a simple click. The ability to send digital contracts for easy signatures is another amazing feature on top of the workflow management that lets you systemize your process. Bloom.io is $11 per month, but there is a 30-day free trial so that you can check it out and see if it works for your business. Go to the website to organize and streamline your business, but most importantly of all, don't get beat up out there.
I won't get beat up out there. Just because he told me not to.
That's right.
Okay, Natalie, we have got to speed through the Money Minute and the grants. So I do
go ahead. Go through the grants. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to pull up the first one. It is, hold on. I have to work so many things at once. Okay. So the first grant that we're going to talk about is another one that's featured on Hello Alice. Uber Eats partnered with Visa to create grants for growth. So from what I understand, it's going to be 40 grants. This particular one is $10,000 for sustainable packaging. There's eligibility below because we're running out of time. But basically, one of the 50 states, District of Columbia, Puerto Rico, fewer than 5 locations with 50 or fewer employees and less than $3 million in revenue in 2022. Unlike the DoorDash grant that we looked at last week, Uber Eats does require you to be an active Uber Eats network partner with at least 5 orders as of June 1st, 2023. So keep that in mind. The next grant that we're looking at, I really liked this one. Also on Hello Alice. So check that site out because I found a lot of free money there. Etsy, Progressive, and the Global Entrepreneurship Network partnered together to create the Small Business Growth Fund. They're giving away grants between $5,000 and $25,000 to help business owners accelerate their growth and achieve their goals in 2023. Eligibility here, you have to be for-profit, less than $1 million in annual gross revenue for 2022. You have to have a commitment to your customers and your community, and you have to have a clear plan for how you're going to use the funds to help you achieve a significant growth milestone in 2023. So the deadline for the first one was July 7th. The deadline for this one is July 21st. And then the last one that we're going to cover, it is a little unconventional. It is the Field Fellowship. It's $100,000, which is huge, spread over 2 years. It's a 2-year program for 20 to 30 young people who want to build new things. But the caveat is they cannot be in college or have an undergraduate degree. So you have to be 22 or younger with no undergraduate degree. If you're in school, you have to drop out. So they provide access to their network of founders, investors, and scientists. They don't take any equity in your company. Just keep in mind the college route is not the path for everyone. So if you know any young people in your life that this might be perfect for, it's $100,000 to help them build things. They accept applications year round. So just go to their website, fieldfellowship.org, and apply.
That is awesome. So cool. All right. So those are on our Instagram and Facebook page every Friday. So you can go back, get information. Again, that's money. We've given you a lot of opportunity today between ERC to get money, grants to get money, right? Take advantage of that opportunity. We talked a little bit about FOMO, right? Fear of missing out. Well, be afraid of missing this opportunity because it's a really great one. Go apply and see if you can get some money. If you do, make sure you let us know. Drop it in one of our chats. We want to know. And we definitely would love to have you on the show if you want to get on camera and hear about your experience. Remember, with ERC, you want to be smart with your money, right? Invest it back into your business. See a professional that can help you make good decisions with it. Don't just blow it. Most of us don't know what to do with money, especially on a large scale like that. Have a professional that can help you do your due diligence. Don't just waste it. Invest it back into your business and your employees to help with that sustainability and growth. So do something today, everyone, that will help you better your business. If you enjoyed today's show, please like, share, and subscribe, and tag that person you know that needs to check out ERC and see if they qualify. And we'll see you next week. Anything else, Shanna?
Go to pillar5.com and get your free assessment.
Oh, yes. Go to pillar5.com and get your free assessments. Also, if you want to be on the show, like JL was, get some feedback on your business, you can fill out a form for that. Go on any of our social media. It will be there. Or if you're an expert and you want to showcase your business, you can do that as well. We have an application process. We do vet who's on the show, obviously, but put in your application. We'll see if we'll have you. Appreciate you guys. Have a wonderful week. We'll see you soon.
Our goal is simple: to help you achieve the dream and vision you first had when you thought about starting a business. We're here to make growing your business less complicated. There are building blocks to build a sustainable business. We promise to seek them out and address them all. The Better Your Business Show starts now.